Welcome to another episode of Sisterhood. On this episode, we are talking about
censoring sex when it comes to women.
Tell me, why are we censoring sex? We need to know each and everything.
And the effects of it. Censored sex is actually not the way to fix all the problems that come with sex.
Women, we need to be educated about how our bodies function so that we can celebrate our bodies, because most of the times we're not taught how to celebrate our own bodies.
Because as much as you can say, no, but if we talk about it, then they're gonna do it more. They're doing it anyway. Ask them. Okay, they'll probably lie. They're doing it anyway.
Because I'm growing up.
But at the same time, I also believe there's nothing wrong with pursuing a life of holiness. So celibacy is also an option in my opinion.
So you might as well educate people so they can do it right. It's something that as Africans we really should look at and should really consider if it's something that's worth teaching or something that a person should learn on their own. You can't say, don't do it. That's not enough.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that... Okay, I'm going to stop because people attack me for my voice.
I'm going to attack you, obviously.
Like, my point is just that I think we should talk about it, guys.
Okay.
Let's not make it seem like it's such a huge taboo thing. Let's have discussions about it. People should be educated about it, because the minute you make it seem like it's such a sensitive topic, it's taboo, that's when people want to do it.
But to what extent then should you be teaching me this stuff? Because the moment you are going to teach me Kuti Chiso, you drive a car like this, and then you're like, Chiso, don't drive a car. Of course, I'm gonna wanna drive a car. So to what extent?
To a greater extent. People are supposed to talk about each and everything. Anything to do with sex. Because I mean, if you skip some parts, it's not going to be like how it's supposed to be like. Because I mean, people are telling us every day, sex is good. Sex is that. Sex is... And now you want to go and try it and you're doing...
I think there should be levels, guys. Because like, for instance, let's say, because there are different aspects to sex that we can explore. There are other people want to know like how to do it. There are other people want to know how to protect yourself. There are other people who want to know like how to engage in it, like what the difference is in engagement, because it's not the same story with everyone. Then there are other people who don't want to explore it all. So I feel like it depends, like who we are talking to, how old they are, and
what
they
we're
wanna do
teaching
with
them
it.
about. Because I think they're like stuff we really, really have to teach people, like how to protect themselves, what is sex, and because these days it's kind of, like, there's this, that.
I think it
So
needs to be an ongoing conversation. Like, once you start talking about it, let's do it in stages. Okay, there's this thing that happens. It produces, I mean, the ultimate first conversation is, where do babies come from? Right? As a child, you should know how babies are made and whatnot.
They don't tell us.
They don't even do
They're
that.
always
And then go
telling
in
us,
stages.
I bought the child. I bought your sister.
The child came with a bird. A bird.
Guys, I had a different experience. I'm not gonna lie. Like my parents are very out there. Like they'll tell you, Guti, the baby comes from here. This is what happens and all of that. So, yeah, they did that. Like, I was very young and like I was in primary school. And I think it's a good thing because it gave me the option to decide whether or not I want to engage. And I feel like that's also something that's personal. When people talk about sex, I kind of feel it's kind of biased because everyone is assuming that everyone is engaging. So the conversation is like, it's pressuring, you understand? You might think you're educating people, but you're also pressuring other people.
But like, I think it also like depends on like, because when you say Kuti, when I'm saying Kuti, let's talk about it, let's educate people, you also need to just like gauge the kind of person that you're telling, because I'm sure by grade 6 whatever, you can tell the child's personality and how they...
So you're saying they're supposed to start maybe grade 6?
Guys, if they're teaching you about menstruation in grade 6, aren't they teaching you about how babies are made?
That's all they tell us.
I think
they're not going
that's
to
what
tell us.
I think that's what I meant, Kuti. To what an extent are you telling a grade 6 about sex?
But like, what
like,
that's what I'm
honestly,
saying in stages. Because if you tell a child about menstruation, if you want a child to understand menstruation, you need to remember to tell them this is how babies are made. You don't need to tell them about the diseases and all of that. That's what I'm saying in stages, an ongoing conversation that you can be teaching them when they're of age. Where you're like, okay, now you're 16. Now we're gonna talk about this and this. Now you're 18. We're gonna talk about this and this. But like, the minute you start teaching someone about menstruation, you need to tell them about sex.
Okay.
My brother's in grade 3, guys, and they're already learning about the reproductive system.
It's supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you start Ndakura, you're wasting your time.
Because how are you can't now expect to tell someone at 16 how kids are made when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
People, once a person is able to start getting pregnant, that's when they need to know.
And who's supposed to be teaching us?
Exactly.
Let me tell you something. Willpower is very personal. Like if I want to do something, I will do something. If I don't want to do something, I will not do something. And if you're educating someone, you're empowering that person to make that decision. So if you say that if I present like issues to do with sex to a person, they are automatically going to choose to have sex. That's not true.
No, I didn't say choose. I didn't say choose. I said they are going to be driven.
My question is, would you rather someone be driven or driven with all the information, or they are driven with lack of information?
No, I am
because
pro
when
it.
I was in primary, in grade 7, there were kids who were pregnant. So for
That's
me,
what I'm saying. I'm pro information, right? Don't get me wrong on the information. I am just saying there are now some of these things and where kids are doing so wow, and they've been taught. I am pro. Do you know what did someone now they're 6 and then Mwana comes from this and you do this and there are consequences to everything that you do. I am so pro. But I am not pro teaching jiri off.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what I'm saying. I'm like in stages where like
even learning is also subjective. Because when you can sit a child down and then you tell them, but they also learn from your behavior. How do you explain my like mahumbu and stuff like that, and then sexual?
Of course.
But you've never had that conversation with that child. Where they're getting them, they're observing from you, or maybe the content that you keep.
Because the unfortunate thing is, just because you are not telling them doesn't mean they're not hearing it from somewhere else. So it's a matter of getting ahead of it and making sure that they take your word over anyone else's. And I'm saying tell them about diseases and tell them about all the oral sex versions. When a child is at 6, you don't have to tell all that. That's not all that.
No, I think
What did you say?
What is that?
they should learn. Diseases they should learn. I am not when it comes to the diseases things, prevention things. I actually think that's what you actually should be teaching them.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, all right.
And like when you're in high school, when a person is now sexually active, or they're exposed to people who are also sexually active, they are going to learn about what I just mentioned. There's oral sex.
Okay.
There's diseases that come with sex. There are different kinds of diseases. There's some diseases that will get you cancer.
Why just oral sex though?
No, I'm saying the basic thing that you're going to talk about, the actual sex. And then later on,
you learn as you go.
Yeah, you learn as you go in stages. That's what I'm saying. Because when you're telling a child about sex initially, there's no need for you to tell them about oral sex. You're just educating them where babies come from. You see, stages.
But I'm still on my question. Who's supposed to be teaching us about sex?
I think your parents should.
Yeah.
As in my mother.
Your mother.
And my father.
And your mother is teaching you everything else, but she don't want them to teach you this.
But
no.
But how many people are close to those people?
And
are you
get
more
married
comfortable to talk to your tete than someone who has taught you, who has bathed you since you were a baby?
To be honest, my tete. To be honest, my tete, I can be so open to my tete. I can actually show my tete, my boyfriend, and Toto Seka and everything, and then mom will be like, you know what? I think it just depends with the setup.
That's also coming from the culture aspect where they did tell us Kuti tete is supposed to do that. And even when you're growing up, if your tete knows Kuti, that's kind of her role, she will be present for you like that.
But tetes, let's be honest, they are not available. But what I am saying is, all right, not tete. I would rather be taught by Monoari outside than my mom. Because my mom will be more strict. Maybe putting the term tete is just covering everything. But I would rather talk like Ari outside asiri my mom.
How do you tell your mother?
Comfortable.
Why are people not comfortable discussing sex with the people closest to you? Because those are the same people that have taught you your manners, your values, and your morals. And yet we're not comfortable discussing. And I feel like that's one of the issues that I have with African households, where it's like, I want that person to tell me so that whenever I have issues, that's the person I'm coming to. Later on, when things happen, I'm going to go to my mom, but she's never taught me anything. So now we're starting from scratch. Now
I
she
think
has
it's
some.
the
How
environment,
do you?
like,
But now
like,
I've had
they-
mistakes.
That's why I was saying like levels. And what exactly about sex am I going to be comfortable being, my mom teaching me? Yes, punish but to be honest, like some stuff I'm not naturally going to be comfortable talking about positions.
How
and
do you tell your mama?
I know, honestly.
Conversation.
Guys, I feel like you just need to know who you have a relationship with. If you're comfortable,
close, even if you're
yeah.
close, it's hard to tell your mother, "Go to Inini Mama. I want sex. I want."
That stems from the relationship your mother builds with you when you're growing up.
Mama,
Because my
my
mom
position, I'm not an did.
for your friends and your men.
Okay, but that's correct as well. That then takes away from the point that you are presenting.
No, but education is from zero.
guys, Google that stuff. Like,
so
Being a person, things like morning afters, the basics, the things you're not talking about are
that's also another
intricacies
thing, guys.
of sexual
course.
pleasure.
No,
That's
of-
I
sexual
actually have,
pleasure.
there's something I want to talk about with reference to that. I feel like when we don't talk about the nuances that come with like sexual behavior, like we just talk about, okay, you have sex when you feel like this, you have sex, or like if you do this, STIs and all of that. But like there is no sentiment that is associated with sexual behavior. Like people don't really talk about the other things that that are attributed to having sexual activities at a specific time or like a specific person.
Yeah, like what?
Like for instance, people don't talk about the spiritual aspect of sex. People don't talk about the emotional, mental aspects of sex. And I personally feel like, okay, in Nangu, I'm pro celibate. Very pro celibate.
Guys, I'm with her.
I'm pro celibate.
I'm not.
Abstinent. For women,
I'm not saying yeah.
guys, it's very empowering Angu, for me, because I kind of feel like if you have autonomy, right? That's like being in charge of your own body.
Yeah.
You can decide for yourself rather than, because I feel like sex is more of women receiving and less.
That's what they say.
It's more of women receive, it's like depositing, and then men just go into whatever, and then you are like people have things to say about you.
I think
Like,
ultimately
and all of that.
being sexually active means something different for a female than
than
it
it
does
means
for
for
a
a
man.
man.
I'm saying.
And as much as like, I think it's just a matter of people owning your choices and don't let people tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like to do that, have enough information. You don't need to know about every single thing, but like have enough information. As long as you know there's a thing called Plan Bs, there's protection, there's STDs, there's STIs. Just knowing those things exist. There's abstinence.
Wait, are you saying that we're supposed to teach ourselves?
No, I'm just saying you should know. And when I think about how you can know, for me, it goes back to the household that you're raised in. I feel like if you guys are going to teach me how to hold a spoon, how to do all of these things in public, you might as well also teach me how to behave in private.
Okay, so maybe let's say we're not supposed to censor sex.
Yes.
We're
Yeah,
supposed to
agree.
talk
We're
about
not. We're supposed to talk about
Anything
it.
to do with
Yes.
Even the functioning of the female body, I feel like that's something that we don't talk about. Most of the time, like I was saying, kuti sex is more of like depositing, like men just and then they dip, right? But for women, like celebrating your body, understanding how your body works, I also feel like that's important, especially if you have a daughter, to just make her know, okay, this is what happens. You know, even in the menstruation, I'm very against. We just talk about menstruation and we don't talk about like the nuances. We don't talk about
Why it
endometriosis,
happened.
like we don't talk about ovarian cyst and all of that like a possibility. Not everyone has the same kind of flow. So that's something that we need to be talking about, even as kind of with how do you experience sex as well, because when you're being sexually abused but you don't know.
You don't know.
When we don't get to that, it's a situation whereby it's a conversation that you need to have with people that are close to you. We need to have it in schools. We need to have it amongst each other
at home.
At home, and not make it seem like it's a taboo, because it's happening. It's natural. It's something that everybody needs to know about it. We need to know the nuances. We need to know about the all the diseases, all the medication involved.
So I have something like
probably. Okay. Abstinence is not a taboo as well.
It's
It's a taboo.
Wait, can I?
Who wants to marry a virgin? I'm joking.
That's also another thing. I'm against the idea of waiting till marriage. Like you're like the heightened position is kuti uruti. I'm saving myself for marriage, but no, I'm not saving myself for marriage.
But
I'm
then I think it then depends with your
to
religion and what. Like I'm Christian, and that's what we're taught. Even though half church
do you hear what
doesn't
I'm saying?
do that.
Do you hear what I'm saying? It's not about saving yourself for your husband. It's not about saving yourself for your marriage. It's about saving yourself for yourself and the covenant that you have with God.
Yeah.
Because if you save yourself for a husband, you're gonna be bitter because your husband was busy having sex with so many people before he found you, right? But if you made a commitment to yourself and you decide, Kutina, I'm not gonna be doing this because I don't want to be side to anyone. That's on you. So it's not a taboo, sister, my friend.
I want to be. Wait, can I stop you guys before you guys are? I want to ask, right, for the viewer that's there, Anditi. Andiskugona kuudza mama, andiskugona kuudza tete, and I'm pro information. Who do I ask? Where do I get the information?
Please comments down low. Comment if you need the assistance. That's what this show is about. If you don't have anyone that's close to you that you feel like you can talk to about this, please comment down low. And I think you'll find that people are very willing to assist, to give you guys advice and all of that.
Yeah.
We need to be comfortable about it. It's the 21st century. It's not a taboo anymore. People are doing it, and we need to make sure that everybody is educated enough and they're not ending up in situations that could have been avoided just because of lack of information.
Yeah, and
make one
sure.
more thing. One more thing.
Okay.
So to the guys, sex is not about you. It's a two-way communication.
Agreed.
So if you want to be pleased, I want to be pleased. If I want to be happy, I also want to be happy. Don't tell me you're not a woman if you're not doing this. It's not good if you're not doing this. I want to do that.
Let's talk
Make
about
it feel good.
So that's a wrap from us from Sisterhood. I hope you enjoy getting all the tips and tricks from our amazing guests. Be sure to catch us next time on our next episode. Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Bye.
So get your paper and do what you want to. Let them say what they want to. You can be on this.